Hi, I'm Marla Reagan with Organized Time, and I live in Houston, Texas. I am an author and a speaker, and today we are going to be talking about time habits. Time habits is something that we put into place so that we make our lives a lot easier, because what we're doing is we are putting in routines and systems. If you write out the word system from top to bottom, you and to put the acronym for system, it means that it saves you stress, time, energy, and money. System are the things that we want to put into place, and I want to help you do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going through the letters of time, T-I-M-E. Now, you should have a handout, and there's a little place for notes. So if you write T up there, T stands for think. We don't usually take time to think, but it is so very important to do that. Proverbs tells us, "For as he thinks within himself, so is he." You may have heard it said this way, "As a man thinks, so is he." So what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about how good things are? Or are you thinking about, oh my goodness, things are just not going the way I want it to? It just change that thinking to the positive. What is it that you want? Because as you think about it, you bring it about. Does that make sense? What we think about, we do bring about. So what are you thinking about? It's so very important that we take time to think. When you have little ones running around, it's hard to take that time to think. And we're going to be talking more about routines, and thinking needs to become part of your routine. So, and I would also recommend that you think with a pencil. What I recommend is getting a legal pad or opening up a Word document, whatever works best for you, and do a mind sweep. A mind sweep is just letting everything that is on your mind come down and get on the paper. All of those thoughts come out through the pencil point or the pen or your fingertips as you're typing. Do this without editing. Don't worry about what's landing on the page, okay? It's okay. This is just helping you to get those thoughts off of your mind, and the more you're able to get them off of your mind, the more things will pop up. It's like when you release memory from a computer, all of a sudden it has better memory and it works faster. It's the same thing with your mind. So go ahead and write those down. You may have some goofy little things that you're writing down, like my feet are cold, or I'm hungry, or what am I hungry for? And then you start kind of doodling around that, and that's okay. But then you're going to start writing down things like, I need to go grocery shopping. When can I go grocery shopping? Do I have a grocery list? And just continue on like that. Don't edit. Get it off of your mind. Sometimes things that are worrying us also come out on that list. It's quite all right to write everything down, and then once you have it written down, look back at the list. You can scratch out the things about your feet are cold or you're hungry or whatever like that. Scratch that out, but then begin to look and formulate a to-do list, because that to-do list is going to come out, and that's quite all right. So this is also part of the thinking process, but it's helping you to eliminate what's on your mind, and it helps to keep you focused on what's next and what to do. Okay? The next one is I. I stands for implement. You're thinking about the things that you want to do. You plan your work and you work your plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So it's very important that you implement your plan. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain, so that the one who runs can read it. So it's writing down. It may be part of the mind sweep that you're doing, but what is the vision? What do you need to do? We're going to get a little more specific here. I know it sounds a little vague. Hang in there with me. When you are deciding on the things that you need and want to do, then it becomes a routine, and that's what we're going to talk about next. The M in time stands for make the most of your routines. What does that mean? On your handout, on the first page in the third column over there, it says, what happens before bedtime? Now that is thinking about yesterday and what happened when it was bedtime at your house. And the reason you're probably thinking, why is she starting with bedtime? Bedtime is very important, and our tomorrow begins the night before. In Genesis 1, when God was creating the world, it says, and it was evening, and it was morning, and it was the first day. And then he repeated it again. It was evening, and it was morning, and it was the second day. And he went through every day, the first 6 days of creation, and after each day, he said, and it was evening, and it was morning, and it was that day, until the seventh day when he rested. So we start the night before, getting ourselves ready, and once we are ready, we rest, and then when we wake up the next morning, we are rested, and we're ready for the day. So I would like to know, what were the things that happened last night during the bedtime, the time that you're preparing to go to bed? What happened with your children or your baby? What happened to your bedtime? And what time did you go to bed? You can pause this recording so that you can have time to write that down. So go ahead and pause this recording. Okay. I'd like for you to also discuss what you have written down. So you can pause it right now for the discussion. Now that you're back, what isn't working in your evening routine? Write that down. You can pause. Come back. Now I'd like for you to take time to write down an ideal bedtime routine. And this is something that you are going to implement, using that I word. You're going to implement each night, or do your very best to follow that plan. Now, I will tell you, for very young children, young children, babies, young children, even up to like 5th and 6th grade, need a good 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. So it is very important that you watch evening or afternoon sugar and caffeine. Children should not be having caffeine of sodas or iced tea, chocolate, things like that, because that really does something to their development and it interrupts their sleep. And while they're sleeping is when their bodies are developing. So it is very important that they get that good night's sleep. So write down when you will begin bedtime and what that bedtime routine will be. For your child, it may be a bath, cuddle and book time, reading them stories. Reading is very important for their development. And a nighttime prayer, some hugs and kisses and cuddles, and then it's time for lights out. And then it is time for your routine. What do you need to do? And it is so very important that you also have an early lights out time, no later than 10:30 if you can help it. And I know that sometimes it is difficult, but if you can eliminate blue light from your computer, TV, and your phone at least 30 minutes before it's time to go to bed. You may want to do a craft, read a real book, or talk to your spouse or your boyfriend or your husband. Well, that's your spouse. Whatever. But just help yourself to begin to relax and calm your mind. And you may also, some of the things that people are doing are listening to prayer.com to listen to scripture, soft music, and also look at what your schedule looks like tomorrow. Get out your phone. I know I just said put your phone away, but set alarms. Set an alarm I challenge you to set your alarm for 15 minutes earlier than normal. We'll talk about that extra 15 minutes. Set an alarm 5 minutes before you need to head out the door. Another alarm may be 30 minutes before you need to leave work. This is going to help you to get everything put away, leave yourself clues for what you need to do on your next work day, and to help you to get out of work on time and to pick your child up. Now, if you have an appointment like coming to Two Lives Changed, you may want to set that alarm for the time that you need to leave. Also, if you have any appointments on the phone or in-person appointments, set an alarm a few minutes before you need to leave or you need to be on the phone. And this is just going to help remind you to stop what you're doing and think about, how do I finish up what I'm doing and go to the next thing, to get yourself mentally prepared for the next thing. That alarm setting is such a time saver. Okay, so that is before you go to bed. Now, you will notice the last thing in that column is, what is the one thing that you can implement tonight before you go to bed? And it may be that no social media. It could be that you're going to set the alarms on your phone for tomorrow. And I challenge you to do the 15 early minutes in the morning. Now, when you turn the page over, you're going to see what happened yesterday morning or this morning. What happened this morning? And But if you set your alarm for 15 minutes early, that may be that time when you can reflect on what is going to happen in this day, have your coffee ready to go. Your coffee pot is ready to go. All you have to do is, press the button and enjoy coffee, standing outside on your back porch maybe, and just having that little bit of quiet time, that time with you, or that time that you can have a nice quiet conversation, adult conversation with your spouse or whomever. So, okay, go ahead and take the time right now to write down what happened this morning. So take that time right now. And before you pause, after you write it down, have a little discussion around the table about what happened this morning. Okay? Take that time now. Okay, when you come back, what did not work in the morning? What happened? Did you write it down? Good. Okay, so now what would be an ideal morning routine? What time would you get up? What time would you do the things that you need to do? And what time do you need to be out the door? Where do you need to go? How do you need to show up? Do you need to be extra dressed? That look real nice, or just regular work clothes or uniform? Are those things ready for you? And we're going to discuss that in a couple of other exercises. So write down that ideal morning routine. Take the time and then discuss, because you may get some good ideas from somebody else. Okay, now what is the one thing that you want to implement in the morning? Are you back? Yay. One schedule that I think gets overlooked, and people don't think about this particular schedule. And this is the routine that you put into place when you come home. After a day's work, you come home. Where do the bags go? Where do your keys go? Do you just kick your shoes off, take off your jacket, it just lands on the couch or the floor or whatever? Create a specific spot for those things. I would recommend that you've seen the command hooks that can stick on just about any surface unless it's a rough surface, like a rough sheetrock wall. But on the side of a cabinet or the side of the refrigerator, whatever's convenient for you, put that command hook where your keys will hang. And have a specific spot for your purse and for bags. Now, when you come home with bags, it's a good idea to go ahead, empty the bags. If you've got a water bottle or a drink bottle that maybe you had coffee in, snack bag trash or anything like that, take that all out of the bag, and because you're going to be refilling the bag and getting it ready for the next day. But at the end of the day, when you come home, then it's time to, if your child is old enough, there's homework sometimes. And then what is that routine that is going to set you up for what comes next? And if you're home in the evening, then what comes next is dinner. It's time to prepare dinner. Now, one of the things I recommend is that you get a calendar, and with that calendar, on Monday, assign a protein to every day of the week. You can have chicken on Monday. You can have maybe a little bit of, if you have you cook extra chicken, then you can make a different dish. Maybe you have a salad and you're going to put the chicken on the salad, or create a taco salad, or enchiladas, or tacos, and stretch that protein to make a couple of different dishes, and then have beef. You can have spaghetti. I have a dish that I call noodly stuff, and it's brown ground beef, and you add a can of mushroom soup, stir that all in there, and season it the way you like it. And then I add noodles, like egg noodles or the spiral noodles, and I cook the noodles and then add it to that and stir it all in. You can add peas if you like. I heat up frozen peas, throw that in there. You can do broccoli in there as well, whatever you like. That's quick, and it could be stretched to 2 different days if you'd like. You can also cook it and freeze part of it so that you don't have to cook next week. You've got your beef dish. So if you can supply or assign a protein to each day of the week, it's going to help you with your grocery shopping and also with your meal preps. I like to, on Saturday, batch cook. Cook enough, brown my ground beef, and either flatten it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it until I need it. You can do the same thing with cooked chicken. I used to take a whole chicken, boil it, use the breast for one thing, use the dark meat for another thing, and then I have the broth there that can be used for soups, stews, or something else. So you can get quite a few meals out of that one chicken. So this is going to help with dinner time, and it's also going to help you to save money and save time because you've already thought through that process of dinner time. Now, let's talk about after dinner. After dinner routine is key because it leads you into the bedtime routine. After dinner, it's time to put the extra food away. Also, or if you have something in the freezer that's going to be part of your meal for tomorrow, take it out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator at that time. Clean your kitchen and start looking at tomorrow's calendar. Where do you need to be? How do you need to show up? And what do you need? Pack your bags, get your coffee pot ready. Make sure that your child's bags are packed. And this one is key. Get your left shoe and your right shoe together. I can tell you stories. There have been people who have shown up at work with 2 different shoes, 2 different heel lengths. I'm telling you, get your left shoe and your right shoe together and make sure that you are ready. You are out the door ready before you go to bed. Now, I would like for you to take the time, it doesn't have to be right now, but do take the time to write out what isn't working in your present routine and write down an ideal after dinner routine. What is included in that? And that can go into picking up the house, getting into bath time, and then that's going to lead into bedtime. And then ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can implement tomorrow that is going to make my life much better today? So now we get into the E for time in time. E stands for evaluate. What isn't working? Tweak it. What is working? Keep it. Ephesians 5:15 through 16 says, "Be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, redeeming the time." How are you spending your time now? Are you spending your time wisely? Or are you maybe hitting the snooze button? If you're hitting that snooze button a little too much, you need to reevaluate bedtime. And maybe you need to go to sleep much earlier. We, like children, have a 24-hour clock. All of our body systems are working their way through. It's like if you find that you're waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's when our liver is processing and going through all of the things that a liver does. And so we need to know, if you want more information on that, just ask. But it's very important that we as adults get enough sleep. And I would like to tell you that a bedtime no later than 10:30 is very important for you to get a good night's sleep so that you're well rested for in the morning, because you want to be you want to go from feet on the floor to out the door. And sometimes what is needed to get out the door on time is a little bit of backward calendar planning. What time do you need to be at work? What time do you need to walk in and say, "Hey everybody," and you're there at work? What time does that need to be? How long does it take you to get to work? Then you need to back up. If it takes you 45 minutes and you need to be there at 8, then you need to be leaving your house around 7, because you never know how traffic is. If you need to drop your child off at childcare, then how long does it take to get there? And then how long does it take to get from childcare to work? So then you need to plan accordingly. And then once you know what time you need to be out the door, how long does it take you from the time your feet hit the floor to get your child ready, for you to be ready to have your breakfast, coffee, to feed your child, and grab those prepared, already packed up bags to be out the door? How long does that take? So you have done all of your homework and you know how long everything takes, so you know what time that alarm needs to go off for you to get up, to get yourself ready, to get your child ready, to be fed, to grab your bags, and you know where everything is. Your left shoe and your right shoe are together. You know where your keys are. You just grab everything and you're out the door. So I hope that this has really helped you. I want you to set yourself up for success. Think about what's coming up. Implement a plan to prepare and pack up the night before. Manage your routines for you and your family. And evaluate and make any course corrections that need to be made. Okay? I'm rooting for you. If you have any questions whatsoever, please email me. You have the QR code for my website, and there is a little link on there that says "Let's Chat." This is a no obligation whatsoever link that leads to my calendar for you to set up a time to meet with me. If those times do not work for you, please email me and we'll find a time to chat, because I want you to be successful. I want you to have a very happy life. I want you to live today the way that you want tomorrow to be. I'm Marla Reagan with Organized Time, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.